Yesterday, President Trump was out in Georgia doing that thing he does so well. He was rallying the troops. He was going to bat for Loeffler and Perdue and getting ready for the Senate runoff. And also, he had plenty to say about the election in general, and as you expected, he might. So, Trump's legal team and other teams that are not even working for Trump but working towards the same goal remain steadfast in their passion to have their day in court. Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis have been to 4 states pleading their cases before state legislatures. While they've been effective in convincing many lawmakers of widespread problems, to this point, there hasn't been any earth-shattering results. However, lawmakers in Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Georgia have taken action. Let's take a look at Georgia first.
To us, and so we'll be back in the district court for a hearing. Hopefully Monday or Tuesday. We'll see where it goes from there. But one of the things we want and have been trying to get with great opposition is the voting machines to be secured all across the state of Georgia. I have in my office right now a huge bag of shredded ballots. I can't wait to see what that discloses. And there are more on the way. Cobb County, Gwinnett County, these people have used every manner and means of voter fraud you can imagine. It was heavily coordinated. It was heavily funded.
And Matt Braynard heads up the Voter Integrity Fund, and he's presenting a lot of evidence in Georgia also. He's unearthed all sorts of illegalities, well over 20,000 votes. He believes that he has enough evidence to completely overturn the slim margin that is in Georgia. And his group has unearthed so much evidence, some of which has been turned over to the FBI. So let's hear from him.
They're going to actually hand that over to the Secretary of State to see if it validates or not. Specifically, individuals who don't meet residency requirements to cast ballots in that state. And between that and those who are registered at felony addresses, I provided about around 22,000 ballots that could have been cast illegally. And depending on what the Secretary of State says, either validating or invalidating my work, that's far more than the margin of victory in that state. And I think we'll put the brakes on anybody walking out of that state with the electors anytime soon.
Governor Kemp has recently stepped up and called for a signature audit. He kind of laid back and hid in the woodwork, but at this point he's finally starting to speak out a little bit. He went on Laura Ingraham and told her that he believed that the Secretary of State needed to call for a signature audit. So let's hear from him.
Kemp called for more transparency in the state's election system, adding he believes a signature audit must be carried out for the 2020 elections.
In Pennsylvania, several dozen members of the state legislature are urging their congressional delegation to object to the Electoral College count when it's presented in January for confirmation. They claim Tom Wolf and other people have undermined the integrity of the election. We, the undersigned members of the Pennsylvania General Assembly, urge you to object and vote to sustain such objection to the Electoral College votes received from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania during the joint session of Congress on January 6, 2021, they wrote. Of course, Pennsylvania is one of the states where Trump had this huge lead after the polls had closed, and in the middle of the night, vote dumps came in, and Biden was able to overcome a lead of about 700,000 votes after more than 60% had been reporting. So seems mathematically unlikely that there should have been a comeback in this, yet everybody probably remembers the story, and for those of us that stayed up all night, it was just an incredible thing to see, because it wasn't just Pennsylvania, but of course all of those swing states, it was the same thing. They just mysteriously had a reason to stop counting, and when counting resumed, things really went south fast. And so that's where we're at in Pennsylvania. Out in Arizona, their state legislature announced an audit of the Dominion Machines in Maricopa County. Of course, that's the biggest county in Arizona, so that would be most helpful if something turns up there. Arizona's lawmakers are apparently in the game, and they may prove to be very valuable allies to the Trump team.
In a press release published on Friday, the Arizona State Legislature announced an independent audit of the Dominion software and equipment that was used by Maricopa County in this year's election. The audit was called by the current Senate President Karen Fann and Speaker of the House Rusty Bowers, both Republicans. The GOP controls both chambers of the Arizona legislature.
In Michigan, The Board of Elections ordered county clerks to delete vote data. So the Michigan Republican leaders were not too happy when they learned that the Board of Elections ordered county clerks to delete election-related data from government computers. On December the 1st, the Board of Elections, which is under the auspices of Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, sent a memo to all clerks about recounts and the release of voting equipment. One title read that the EPB software and associated files must be deleted from all devices by the 7th calendar day following the final canvass and certification of the election, unless a petition for recounts has been filed. Of course, the recount is probably not going to happen, but I find it really, really fishy that they're wanting to just, do the Hillary Clinton and do some wiping on these things as fast as this, when they know that there's some things in doubt. And so, clearly Michigan, they've got people in there that are trying to hide evidence, that are trying to obstruct justice. Hopefully they won't get away with it, but we'll see in the coming days whether the Republicans or the Trump team are able to do anything about this. But surely they had better be able to, because otherwise the suspicion will only get that much worse. All right, in Michigan we did get one win, and Rudy Giuliani tweeted, "Big win for honest elections. Antrim County Judge in Michigan orders forensic examination of 22 Dominion voting machines." Sidney Powell may well be the most exposed of all the lawyers working on the election issues. Here she's talking to Mike Huckabee about how the Democrats had complaints about Dominion for years, notably Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar. Funny how they're pretty silent right now, but here's Sidney.
Out years ago, I think Carolyn Maloney was the first person I saw raise any issue about it at all, and that was back in 2006, I believe, when she spoke out vehemently against it and wrote the Secretary of Treasury and other people. It never should have been approved by CFIUS to have the Dominion machines used in the United States at all. I mean, none of us realized, well, I mean, I guess a few people did, like she did, and Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar in 2019 realized that our votes were being handled on a Venezuelan-created software platform and sent out of the country to be counted, again, by communist nations with complete hackability and ease of access to almost anyone who wanted it. I mean, we've seen a video of a 15-year-old hacking in the Dominion voting machines in a span of 10 minutes. And a pro can do it in less than 2.
So make no mistake about it, there's still life in the Trump team. Never count him out. It ain't over until it's over. So that's all I have for today. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.